This video will be another exercise using decision structures in Java. We're going to solve this problem. We're going to use, it's a two-part problem. We're going to do pseudocode, and then we're going to do Java along with it. So we'll have two videos on this, one doing pseudocode and one doing Java. So here's the problem. Design a program using pseudocode to prompt the user to pick one of 4 prompts, then output an interesting fact about the option chosen. So we have 1, 2, 3 prompts here. The problem says we need 4. So let's go ahead and add a 4th there. Let's see, here a joke. Let's say that. Okay. Let's see here. Let's not do a joke. Let's say see a subtraction problem. That's easier. That'll take less time. Okay. Okay. So then we'll put out a menu with these 4 options. Then we'll ask the user to pick one, and then if they answer 1, 2, 3, or 4, we'll do that. If they answer anything else, then we won't do anything. And so this calls for a switch case. So when we actually do this in Java, we'll use a switch case. In our pseudocode, we'll probably use an if statement. Okay, we can go back and we can see examples. Remember in Java of how to do switch cases and how to do if statements. Previously in this same slide, in the same chapter 3 slide deck, there's all the examples of things that we need to be able to do the pseudocode and the flowchart symbols for all of this, for all of these examples. Okay, so use those slides and watch the video that goes through that. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to do my pseudocode using Google Drawings. I could do it in a word processor like Google Docs or something like that, but I'm just going to do it in Google Drawings just because it's pretty easy to do. So I go to Google and I open Google Drawings. Okay, and then I'm going to title this example 5.03 switch case. Okay. Let's go ahead and put a title. Let's see, first we need to make our drawing page the right size. So we're going to make that 8.5 by 11. I'm going to go ahead and put a title in here using the text box. Let's call it example 5.03 switch case. Okay, let's go ahead and make that bigger. Make it bold. Okay, that looks good. Center that on the page. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to do pseudocode. So I'm just going to have a big text box here. So I'm going to put another text box in, and I'm just going to draw a big one there. And we may have to change our font size. We'll see as we go. So let's do begin. Let me go ahead and scroll and zoom in a little bit, so maybe it's easier to read. So we're going to say begin, and then I'm going to indent, because remember, all of our code needs to be indented. Every code block needs to be indented. So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to give you 4 options. So I'm going to say display 1. Let's see, we can come back here and see see a division problem, see a fact about San Antonio. See a division problem. Indenting, keeping my indentation good. See box 3. See a multiplication problem, see a subtraction problem. Now, obviously, this is a very simple and contrived example. But what we're really trying to do here is just to get an example of how to do a switch case. So when we have an actual problem that requires this kind of logic, we'll know what to do. So even though this is not that useful a program, it is useful in helping us get some muscle memory about how to do this work. So now we want to do an input. Let's see, let's do a display. Choose your option. What we're doing here is called a menu. a text menu, and so we'll be learning more about these later in the course. So we want to declare a variable here called a string variable called option. Okay, and then we're going to say here input option. Okay, all right. So there I've done a printout with 4 choices and asked the user to do something, and now I'm waiting for the user to do that. So now I'm going to write in my pseudocode. This is going to look like an if statement, but when I code it in Java, it's going to be a switch case. So here I'm just going to say if option equals 1. But I'm going to use string values here. Even though 1, 2, 3, 4 is these are numeric options, I'm going to use, I don't really care if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. So if I treat these as integers, it just adds more overhead to my program because I have to make sure that I'm doing parseInts and things like that. And so since I don't really care, I don't really care if it's a number. I just want it to equal 1. So I can use the string notation of 1 here to make it easier to read and easier to code. So I'm not going to use numeric values unless I absolutely have to. Okay, so we have if option equals 1, then we're going to see a division problem. So we're just going to say display 10 divided by 5 equals 2. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll have here else if we don't really need an else there. So we're just going to say if, because these are exclusive, so if option equals, so no 2 of these will ever be true at the same time. So we don't really need to do if, so we don't need to do else's here. Display San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the US. Okay. Notice how I'm keeping my indentation clean. I'm indenting not only the statements in between the begin and the end, but I'm also indenting the blocks inside the if statements. Okay. This makes it very easy to read. So if option equals 3, then display a multiplication problem. And then the Java will actually do the multiplication here probably. So let's see, 4 times 5 equals 20. Okay. If option equals 4, then display subtraction problem 99 minus 9 equals 90. Okay. And then we're going to have a default here, okay, that says if it's none of those things, then what do we do? Okay. We're going to say display that is not a valid option. Okay. Then we're going to end. So that's our pseudocode. Okay. And size-wise, that looks pretty good. So you see the pseudocode looks very much like code. This is not Java, but this is an easy thing to translate into any language, Java, Python, COBOL, whatever you're going to use. Okay. All right. So there's our pseudocode. I think it's good. We'll read it over again. Begin, declare a variable named option that's of type string. Do 4 displays and a prompt. Then have the user enter something. Then we test for 1, 2, 3, 4 and a default. And then we're done. Okay, so that's it. So that was a really simple one. Okay. We'll have a subsequent video which will show this implementation of this in Java, so make sure you watch that.